following program is a work of broadcast students from the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT Magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland over the past week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their BCIT instructors.
Coming up on BCIT Magazine, a windstorm rocked BC, causing road closures and leaving many without power. Protests in Vancouver over Dick Cheney's book tour turned violent. And police are still investigating a death after a mysterious fall in the downtown east side. Hello and welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Matthew Vandeventer. A recent windstorm inconvenienced thousands of people in the Lower Mainland. Power outages left many in the dark and forced road closures. Martin McMahon reports.
Heavy wind and rain caused havoc across British Columbia recently, leaving many without power as trees and other objects damaged utility poles.
When we got called, 4 of our trucks were out at different scenes, and we also can hear the dispatchers over on Bowen Island, so I know they were quite busy as well with hydro lines down and whatnot as well. So the BC Hydro folks are busy as well. We don't have an estimated time to get this stuff cleaned up, but it'll be quick.
In West Vancouver, a number of streets were blocked off as city workers attempted to control the situation. Over on Marine Drive near the intersection with 29th Street, a sizable tree knocked down power lines, forcing firefighters to secure the area.
Well, it came down, it's a fairly large one, came down across the primary lines and broke those, and then is across the road. So we'll get that, once it's safe, everything will get cleaned up. And like I say, Hydro's on site and they do most of that work for us, and then we come in and do the cleanup work.
At the height of the storm, more than 40,000 people were left without power throughout the province. Martin McMahon in West Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Dick Cheney's book tour reached Vancouver and was met with hundreds of protesters claiming he should not have been let into Canada. BCIT reporter Carmen Weld was at the protest.
A peaceful protest broke out in violence in Vancouver this week as Dick Cheney was in town to promote his book at the Vancouver Club. Over 250 protesters attended, alleging Cheney's war criminal status should not have allowed him in Vancouver. Code Pink and the Lawyers Against the War let their presence be known and were disappointed at our government's choice.
I can't believe that people would pay $500 to go and see a war criminal, a known person who has admitted that he believes that torture is legitimate.
Local MP Don Davies is disgusted someone like Cheney would be allowed in Canada given his acts of torture.
If you just take waterboarding, that is an act of torture. It involves strapping a person to a table, upside down, pouring liquid down their throat until they think they're going to die. So there's no excuse on the government's part. They were aware that he was coming and they could have taken action. And their silence has been deafening.
The Stop War Coalition organized the protests and wants Canada to follow the European model.
Cheney and Bush, they can't go to Europe. Switzerland has told them don't show up, they'll be arrested. Even the Conservative mayor of London said to George Bush, don't come to London, you're going to get arrested. So we have to change our government here in Canada because it's an embarrassment to the world.
I'm on the sidewalk here because my government should be here, and they're not here.
We live in a society where citizens are trying to fight against war torture, but our own city's police department is protecting him and letting facilitate such event.
Protests lasted into the night and extra police had to be called in. Dick Cheney's event went off as scheduled as he had actually arrived undercover earlier in the afternoon. Carmen Weld in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
The tragic death of a downtown east side woman last week is still shrouded in mystery. Police haven't labeled the death as a homicide, but eyewitnesses claim she may have been murdered. Reporter Rafferty Baker has the story, and a warning that some viewers may find this content disturbing.
This is where I was, because I just bought a slice of pizza and I was going to head home. And then I was crossing the street, I looked up and I seen Verna come out of the 6th floor window, come down head first, and then seen all the brain matter and everything else.
James Mickelson has lived at the Regent Hotel for years. Like most residents of the single room occupancy, or SRO, Mickelson was fond of Verna Simard.
Picture of Verna.
But tragically, Simard plunged to her death on September 16th. The Vancouver police haven't declared the death a homicide. In a press release, Constable Jana McGuinness says, "This is a tragic loss of life, and our investigators are working hard to determine the circumstances that led up to her death." But Mickelson and DJ O'Brien, who lives across the street at the Balmoral, say they witnessed a violent dispute leading to Simard's deadly fall.
You could hear them fighting before that happened.
Yeah, before it happened, yeah. And you can hear it really clearly. They let everybody out here hear them scream. Her screaming for help. Somebody help me.
And Mickelson says he saw Simard's boyfriend actually push her out the window.
He just grabbed her literally and then out the window.
Police continue to investigate Simard's death. Meanwhile, her friends in the community remember her with a memorial where she died. Rafferty Baker in Vancouver, BCIT Magazine.
Coming up after the break, downtown East Side residents are looking for change, and BCIT hosted the Rivers Day celebration. And a Mario Kart tournament was created to promote unity.
They say if you want a wish to come true, never tell anyone. But there is one wish that can make the difference between life and death. And this wish can only come true if you tell someone. Please, let your family know you want to be an organ donor.
Welcome back. Conditions for residents in the downtown East Side are less than ideal. Connor Hammond took a trip down to Pigeon Park where concerns have been growing about the lack of working public washrooms.
Pigeon Park has long been a staple of the downtown East Side. This location offers more than just a place for people to huddle out of the rain, as it has one of the very few public bathrooms in the region.
But for people who are looking to use these facilities, all that greets them is a locked door and a graffitied sign. Needless to say, this concerns some of the residents here on the downtown East Side.
They had a few cans around here, that wouldn't be like that. The tourists wouldn't be so disgusted, you know?
Why are they not taking better care of them? Why don't they just put outhouses down here, or else start letting them be open for free? Rather than putting in something like this so expensive, and then they have to maintain it, and they don't want to maintain it, so why not just put outhouses down here, whereas people just use them for free?
I've seen lineups on here. When they have their Sunday market down here, there's usually a lineup for people to use this bathroom, and when it's not working, they're going in back alleys, and that's not a very clean thing to do.
Cope Parks Board candidate Brent Granby agrees with the concerns of these residents.
Particularly for vulnerable populations, folks who live on the street, people in wheelchairs, seniors, public washrooms are extremely important for them, because if they don't have public washrooms, then the only thing they have is to go in the alleyways. So if you have to go, you have to go.
This unsanitary trend, Granby thinks, will stop with a combined effort from the city and the Parks Board.
It's a city washroom in a park board space. So what we're calling for is there needs to be greater cooperation between the city through the Department of Engineering and through Park Board.
Until this course of action begins, residents have to cope with using other bathroom options. Connor Hammond in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
With pollution and climate change threatening the environment, one conservationist is passing along his fight to the future generations. I was at BC Rivers Day to bring you this story. BCIT's Mark Angelo is celebrating BC Rivers Day a little closer to home. Angelo is the founder of the event, but the message has reached a global audience.
BC Rivers Day is something we started back in 1980, and it's grown to a point where within our province alone, we've got well over 100 events around the world. We have more than 65 countries involved and literally millions of participants. So people around the world are celebrating the values of our rivers and the need to ensure we properly care for them.
Angelo and other conservationists have recently seen the return of salmon to the once polluted and desolate Britannia Creek. The stream that runs through BCIT is another waterway that underwent extreme restoration, but the Guichon Creek project is still ongoing.
This stream was severely damaged 40 years ago. It was pretty much a lifeless drainage ditch, but I knew a century ago it was at one time a vibrant little stream, and we finally got to a point where we could make that happen.
Volunteers help weed out invasive species and plant native vegetation along the banks of the creek. They hope to create a flourishing ecosystem.
And if we can restore some of that through either taking out rubbish or plants or planting something that should be in there that helps the rest of the sort of general ecology, it's kind of what we're after.
Angelo helps a group of children release trout into the creek. He hopes the day's events will be remembered throughout their lifetime. Matthew Van Venter in Burnaby, BCIT Magazine. With a look at this month's upcoming flicks, Kaylee Ramsey joins us with her Minute at the Movies.
Thanks, Matt. There are two big films opening on October 7th. First, there's The Ides of March. This political thriller has a star-studded cast with Canadian Ryan Gosling and George Clooney, who also co-wrote and directed the film. Gosling plays staff member Stephen, who gets a crash course in dirty politics when he gets involved in a scandal that threatens his candidate shot at presidency. This film got fantastic reviews at TIFF earlier this month. Ryan Gosling is hot right now, and we can't wait to see how he does in The Ides of March. Also out on October 7th is Real Steel. This action film is set in the near future where boxing has become high-tech, and 8-foot steel robots take over the boxing ring. Hugh Jackman plays Charlie Kenton, who makes low-end robots from scrap metal and takes them from one underground boxing ring to the next. The animatronics look pretty impressive in this one, but we'll see how it stacks up against The Ides of March. And finally, the much-anticipated remake of Footloose. The original in 1984 shot Kevin Bacon to fame. The new version has Kenny Wormald as Ren, who is a city boy that moves to a small town where rock and roll and dancing have been banned. Julianne Hough stars as Ariel, the minister's daughter, who tempts Ren into bringing dancing back to Beaumont. This film has a lot to live up to. The original is an absolute classic, and moviegoers everywhere will be kicking off their Sunday shoes when Footloose hits theaters on October 14th.
Thanks, Kaylee. It sounds like it's going to be a great month for movies. Back at home, BCIT hosted its first ever Mushroom Cup. It's a Mario Kart tournament that was created to bring different types of students together on campus. And Braden Notes has the story.
Students busy studying sometimes need a break. The BCIT Student Association, in conjunction with Press Start Games, are hoping to get some students relaxed by joining the Mushroom Cup, a week-long Mario Kart tournament. Press Start Games owner Russell Bradley discusses how the tournament operates.
It operates on a time trial, so basically people come in, they start on Mario Circuit 1, which is the first circuit of the Mushroom Cup, and they play 5 laps, and the best time of those laps will get a small prize. And the next days we'll do other circuits of the Mushroom Cup, and the best overall time at the end of the week will get a big prize. A voucher from the BCIT SA for the stores around campus, and Super Nintendo with Mario World and Mario Kart.
Russell takes down the times as students play, hoping to get the best record. However, this event is about community, as Dan Close explains.
We originally planned these kind of events because we want people to come together at BCIT and it not be about necessarily your course or your program or your set, etc. Come and experience a game tournament where you're involved with all other people from BCIT.
Expecting over 100 students to play in the first day, the Mushroom Cup is projecting at least 250 students each day as the tournament progresses. With daily prizes and a grand prize for the best times, the Mushroom Cup is assured to be a success. Braden Notes in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
If you have any questions or comments regarding this program, please visit us online at bcitbroadcastnews.ca or bcit-broadcast.com. I'm Matthew Van Venter, and that's today's BCIT Magazine. We leave you now with a trailer of Real Steel. Thanks for watching.
delivered. Time has not been good to you, my friend.
The fight game has changed. Human body.